Kelsie, Grace, welcome to Let's Be Frank.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to have you on. I feel like I've been following your journey literally from when you got the lease and started posting about it. And I didn't even put it together when I've been watching you on TikTok that it was the same person over and over again, like demolishing and reconstructing this building, making this wine bar. So I feel like this episode is well overdue. I'm so excited to have you on as the last episode of this season. We actually met at the With Prem event last week at Gracie's. I was starstruck being in there because I've been watching for so long, but you've been having so many events on lately. What has life been looking like for you lately?
It's been so different. I think every month kind of feels like a new season for me at the moment. It's just like the evolution of the business and it's happening really quickly. We've just last week marked 5 months of being open. So we're kind of moving into our 6th month now. And, you know, the first month was all just about, wow, how are we even operating right now? How do we get the doors open every day? How do we close up properly every night? Do we have enough staff? And then that kind of was like the 2nd and 3rd month was really focusing on like nailing the small 1%ers and ensuring we were hiring enough because like gratefully we were so much busier than what I ever thought. And so that was kind of month 2 and 3. And then by month 3, I just saw such a market, and my old role and corporate career was in marketing and events. So I just saw such a market to be able to host brand events and also private functions like hens parties and birthdays. And we have a beautiful space upstairs that I really wanted to utilize. And I always saw it being a private dining room. So month 4, I would say, and month 5 is where I really put my energy into ramping up some events there. And all of the sudden, it's just crazy.
It's popped off.
It's so wild to me. We've had 4 or 5 brand events in there in the last week and a half, which has just been amazing. It's such a dream.
I want to rewind a bit before Gracie's, a little bit about you, a little bit about how Gracie's came to be for the audience and so they can get to know the girl behind Gracie's wine bar as well. Before Gracie's wine room was even a thought, what did life look like for you?
It was so unbelievably different. I think I had people on TikTok don't seem to believe this, but I had a very different childhood to probably what people expected. I'm from Adelaide and I grew up in a single parent household with my mum, my sister and I, and we did it really tough growing up, to be completely transparent. And I've been working since the age of 12, which wasn't even legal at the time.
What were you doing?
I was stacking shelves at a supermarket in North Adelaide. And I actually had that job for like 6 years all through high school. I had 3 jobs at any given time. I was working at the supermarket, I was working at a coffee shop, and I was also working as a babysitter or when I was a bit older at the airport. So I always had 2 or 3 jobs. That was just kind of the life that I grew up in, and I needed to fend for myself and support my mum from like an early age as well. And so I think I've always had the drive to want to do something of my own. And when I moved to Melbourne, the reason I moved to Melbourne is I wanted a life bigger than what I thought I could maybe achieve in Adelaide. And so I came here and I just really wanted to climb the corporate ladder. And that was what I thought I really wanted. I wanted to be in marketing. I wanted to climb corporate. So I started in customer service at REA Group, and I was there for 4 years nearly. And I had 4 different roles. So I really tried to climb there before I ended up in a sports marketing role as an account manager just across the road in Cremorne actually. And so my 9 to 5 in the sports marketing agency was so different to what it is now.
Completely different.
It was really fun. It was really fast paced. So similar in that respect that you work, like it's work hard, play hard sort of situation. So I was traveling a lot. I think I counted, I went on like 25 or 30 planes last year.
Wow.
Just with the travel because of the sports interstate and everything like that. So it was very hectic and chaotic. But at the same time, in retrospect, I thought I was the busiest person alive when I was doing that job and thought that I was working so much, but actually I had so much more time to myself than what I do now. So that's, I guess, the contrast of my life in the last few years.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
How do you think growing up in a single parent household shaped the business owner and person you've become?
I think I won't let this fail because I physically can't let it fail. I feel like I have so much to prove from, I guess, I just really want to make my mum proud, and I have so much to prove to not only her but to myself that I can do this. I've moved to Melbourne to make a bigger and better life for myself, and that's what I'm really set out to achieve. So I think the difference that maybe my upbringing has had on me is that I physically am not able to let this fail. Like, it just doesn't exist for me.
Did you ever work in hospitality growing up?
Controversially, probably not enough experience in hospitality is what I need to start a business in it. I obviously worked at a cafe when I was a little bit younger, only for about 6 to 12 months, I think, and I would have been serving coffees at the age of 14.
Yeah.
And then when I was a little bit older, 18 to probably 20, I worked at a nightclub back in Adelaide, and I was kind of on the door, and my friends owned the nightclub. So I was around hospitality in my late teens, early 20s, but definitely didn't have heaps of experience in owning a wine bar or, just general hospo service. It's definitely a skill that I probably should have mastered.
Well, it's probably like a good thing and a bad thing. It's a blessing that you don't have any major horror stories that would have deterred you from starting this because of how successful it is now as well.
Yeah, it's a tough industry to be in. It's super fast paced, and like, you've got to always be on. So no, it might actually just have been the best thing that I've had to learn on the job.
Yeah, definitely. What about the wine bar room experience really drew you into opening one, sitting there, sipping, having the conversations with the people? What made you want to start this?
I think, like I mentioned, I always knew I wanted something more for myself in my life, and I just didn't really know what that was. I remember before I went to uni, I wanted to study business, and like, there was an entrepreneur course at the time that I really wanted to do. And so I always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted something of my own. When I was younger, I used to have those like fashion design dolls where you'd like change the fabrics, and I wanted to be a fashion designer and own a fashion label. And then when I was a bit older and I met my partner Taylor, I wanted to own a cafe or a restaurant. So I've always had it in me. I just didn't know exactly what it was or where my passion laid, I guess. And I think over the last few years, post-COVID, my favorite thing to do with my girlfriends was to go out on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon and have a wine at a wine bar. And that kind of became a bit of a habit and a bit of, I guess, a routine
something
for us
to look forward
girls.
to, yeah.
Exactly, something to look forward to every single weekend. And then just naturally, as my interests evolved and I really grew to love wine, obviously being from South Australia, we have such a beautiful wine country back there. So I think it just naturally evolved, and I decided cafe and restaurant probably wasn't really where my interests were, but wine was.
Yeah.
And also just the conversations and the opportunity to connect with people over a glass of wine. It just was really nice, and I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to create something of my own and a bit of a different experience.
Somewhere you and your girlfriends could go to.
Exactly. It was kind of like everyone does something so well, but like, what was missing from each of those places, or what did I want to experience when I would go there? And that's kind of the lens I had for creating Gracie's.
Yeah. You mentioned that you studied marketing, obviously, when you're in university. Do you think it's something that you said you had such a great time working in your corporate job that you genuinely enjoyed? Obviously, now you've got Gracie's. Do you think you at some point thought you were forever going to stay in the corporate world doing marketing, or did you feel like there was going to be something else for you?
It's such a hard question to answer, because when I was in marketing and when I was in the corporate world, I fully believed, and I was working so hard as though I wanted to climb to be a CMO or a CEO of a company one day. And that's what I firmly believed. But I think I always had in the back of my mind thinking of a little side hustle or a passion project or something more. So it's a bit of both, to be honest. It wasn't that I always knew I was going to definitely quit. It was, I was really committed to working hard and doing what I was doing, and I was really set up to be happy with that lifestyle. It was just in the back of my mind, my partner, and to be honest, my partner and I would always have conversations like, if we weren't doing this, what would we rather be doing?
Yeah.
And so, I was committed to what I was doing at the time, but there was always this little thing in the back of my brain.
When did the idea of Gracie's actually come to full term? You said you and your partner had conversations about what you'd be doing. When did it kind of click that maybe this is something we're actually seriously thinking about committing to?
Yeah, it was early 2024, so early last year. I remember we just had like a few different conversations about it. And again, it wasn't anything serious at that stage. I remember I had dinner with my two best friends not long after, probably in maybe February of last year. And I told them, I was like, guys, I think, if I ever wanted to quit my job right now, I would want to open up a wine bar. And we all kind of laughed it off and didn't really think much of it. And in June, Taylor and I went on a small holiday to Hamilton Island. And on the plane back, we were feeling both, to be honest, like a little bit defeated, when you get the post-holiday blues. But mine was like pretty severe. Like I was really dreading coming back home. I had really bad anxiety, and it just kind of made me realize I wasn't 100% happy with what I was doing day to day. And the reality kind of hit us, well, you spend like 80% of your life, I don't know if that's a fact, but you spend a lot of time at work. And so you really want to enjoy what you're doing. And he asked candidly, he was like, well, what would you rather be doing? Is there another job would you rather apply for some other jobs? Maybe you want to go more into PR. And I looked at him and I was like, on the plane at the time, and I was like, I think I really want to start our business. And we talked a little bit about it. And that night I came home, and I'm so impulsive that I just had to call my friends back in Adelaide that already have hospitality businesses. And I asked them more so about how much money would I need and what are the startup costs, and like tell me what's really good and what's really bad about it. And just started, I guess, poking and prodding into the idea. And then it all kind of happened. I went and just started, casually looking at some commercial properties, being like, oh, maybe I'll just get some ideas and I'll make some notes and a business plan for one day when we're ready to pull the trigger and we have enough money to do it. And then I saw the building of 27 Toorak Road, and I fell in love with it, and I fell in love with the courtyard specifically, and that it was an old heritage building. And that's just what I love about Melbourne is the character in the buildings that you get here. And when I saw that, I was like, this is it. I can't let this pass me by. Like I just could, as soon as I walked in there,
fixate on it.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so straight away I started getting into negotiations before we even knew if we had enough money to do it, before we knew anything.
Yeah.
I was just so fixated on this building, and I could just see people sitting in that courtyard enjoying a glass of wine, enjoying a bottle, and just with their girlfriends. And I just knew straight away.
The building is so beautiful, and I don't blame you for being fixated on it. Do you think having those conversations with your friends who were already in hospitality, did it give you a reality check? Did it almost set you back going, maybe I can't do this, maybe it's not the time? Did any of those thoughts go through your head when you were in the early stages of learning what it takes to run?
It was the opposite. Yeah. I had too much confidence. It was going to work. It was bizarre. It was talking to them. They were only in their early mid-20s when they started their businesses back home as well. So speaking to them at the time was giving me too much confidence, and that I went into it being like, this won't fail. We're going to do well. We're going to be fine.
We'll make it work.
We didn't think that, we thought that the way that Gracie's would be set up is that I was there working by myself. We wouldn't need any really other staff members. It would be me all day, all night. Taylor might come in after work. We'll sell a few wines a night. We'll pay the rent. But like we could do that. We would back our friends to come in, to get 5 to 10 customers a night to come in and buy some wines from us. So that was the whole business model. It was more so a passion thing, and like, let's give this a go, because at the end of the day, if we're 70 years old and we look back on our life, what would we regret not doing it? And the answer for both of us was yes. So it was like, okay, let's do it.
It's something we should do.
All we need to do is cover the outgoings and the lease and the costs of goods. And if we can do that by having a few people in every night, that will be a success to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had way too much confidence that we could just cover the basics of our costs. Mind you, so naive at the time, not realizing how much goes into running a business.
That's what I was thinking when I was thinking of running a hospitality business, not thinking about doing it, but thinking about your situation. I was thinking, especially in the sense of the events you put on and how you order the food specifically for the events and that night. I was thinking about all the costs that we're going to making sure you have enough food just for one night, and when it comes in and just all the nitty gritty stuff of running a hospitality business. I was kind of sitting there going, how do you fit all of that in your brain and the checklists you'd have every single day of what needs to happen?
It's wild. And I think for the first 4 months, it probably fueled me with a lot of anxiety. I'm naturally a really anxious person, and I need constant checklists because I was forgetting so many things all the time.
Yeah.
Like I would forget to order oysters before a weekend, or I just would forget.
But it would
so
be
many.
so easy to do.
Yeah, and I would just forget so many things. On our first opening day, I just can't believe this. I didn't roster anyone on from the moment we opened.
Oh.
So I didn't roster any staff on. It was Taylor and I, and we looked around and we were like, holy
Where
shit,
is everyone?
where are our staff? There's no staff here. And so we had to quickly call in everyone because I didn't roster anyone on until 5 p.m, but we opened at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Just so many mistakes like that.
Slip your mind.
That just slipped my mind because we weren't even ready to open. Like the build was still kind of happening. So everything was just in chaos mode, and I quite literally forgot to roster people to open with us. So just things like that I was constantly forgetting, but I feel like I'm in a way better routine now, and I'm starting to slowly implement processes and also offload some things onto other staff members. I just hired an assistant, which has been a godsend to kind of keep me in check. She's very type A and I'm very type B.
Right.
So it's been
good match.
It's been the perfect match. But it's funny you were saying that about the costs that go into it. I was actually listening to I saw a TikTok from Brittany Lee Saunders the other day, and she was I don't know if it was with her staff member or maybe the business partner, but she was getting them to guess how much she spent on things that financial year. And I played the same game with our bar manager, Josh. Yeah. And I was like, how much do you think we've spent on wages in the last 5 months? And he was like, $40,000. And I was like, $259,000 we've spent on wages in the last 5 months. Like just so much.
That's just stuff you don't think about.
No, especially because I thought that I would be the only employee of Gracie's for a period of time.
A switch up.
It's such a switch up. So it's just so insane to think about what goes into running a business. And I was so naive.
The things you learn as you go literally constantly.
I think the best part of this is that I've had to learn on the job, because I think if I knew everything now before I went into it, I would be filled with way more anxiety, because just knowing what actually goes into running a business of this size is insane.
Let's talk about Taylor, your partner, the man behind the Wine Girl. How did you two meet?
As all couples do these days. We met on Hinge back in lockdown.
Honestly, I think it's great. I think these days, how do you meet people? Like, genuinely.
No, it's a tough one. I can't imagine dating now either. But we matched during 2021, I believe.
What was your relationship like before Gracie's? Because obviously now you have to be such a strong team being in business together, and your relationship outside of the business. What was your relationship like before Gracie's came to be?
It's so funny. Some of my friends are going to laugh at this. Taylor and I have been together for 4 years, but we actually had a 12-month break. So we broke up for 12 months about 2 years ago. And we were friends the entire time, and we were talking and seeing each other the entire time. But the best thing we ever did, I think, was have that break. And we were so young, and we are still so young, that I think, there's a lot of taboo about it. But at the same time, a lot of people that I'm meeting now that are in long-term relationships have also experienced something similar. Yeah. And for us, when we got back together, it was like everything just made sense. And he's just the best person in the world. And our relationship, since being back together, it's been honestly the most kind, nurturing and supportive relationship. And there's no way I physically could have done this without him and his support and just unwaveringly being there for me.
Obviously, he's not in the day-to-day business in there every single day with you. We see on your TikTok him running to catch the train. It's honestly my favorite thing when I saw those videos. He has his own job, but he's, like you said, one of your biggest supporters. How does he support you within the business, and then when you come home maybe from a tougher day at work, or when something goes wrong in Gracie's, if you forgot to order the oysters or if you forgot to roster staff on?
Taylor is my biggest cheerleader, but he's also the biggest reality check for me at the same time. He definitely holds me accountable, which I probably need, because sometimes I give myself too much leeway and a bit of soft love rather than tough love.
I'm the exact same.
So I'm like, no, don't worry, like you can do it tomorrow. And where he's like, no, like take accountability, go and fix it, go get someone in to help you, like set yourself up for success. So professionally, and what he does for Gracie is he is an accountant by trade. So 9 to 5 he is at work, and then after the fact he is often doing all the behind the scenes, the bookwork for Gracie's and on the weekend. So that's, I guess, professionally how he helps. Also, if someone calls in sick on a weekend, he's the first person that comes in and attempts to get behind the bar. I don't know if I would keep him as an employee, but he definitely gets behind the bar.
He tries.
He talks to people, which is really nice. He loves chatting to all the customers. So tick there, good customer service. Not sure how good his cocktail making skills or wine pouring skills are, but that's okay. That's not why he's employed. So he's very fundamental part of the business in terms of just all of his knowledge around setting up the accounts and everything like that. But personally, the last 6 months, my personal life looks completely different, and that's just a reality. I've been a lot more time poor than what I ever thought I would be.
Well, owning a small business, it literally consumes your life. You can't escape it.
Exactly. And again, very naive going into that. I didn't really know what to expect. And so things that I was used to doing, I naturally cooked a lot of the dinners, and I enjoyed being really clean around the house, and I really enjoyed going for our morning walks or exercising, and every single one of those things in the last 6 months has dropped off. So our relationship at home looks completely different, and he's really had to bear a lot of that mental and physical load of the housework while also maintaining his 9 to 5 job, while also supporting at Gracie's when he can. So he's turned into like this full-time house husband, but actually works full-time as well.
Yeah.
And that's something that has been a challenge in our relationship, because how can I be more present? How can I contribute more? But then also just the understanding that this is just a chapter in our life right now.
Something that will come.
Exactly. This will pass.
Balance.
And in the last few weeks, I've already started to, since we've moved house, I've made a massive effort in trying to prioritize different things in our personal life, to be more present and to contribute more. And that's something that I really want to focus on the next 6 months. And so, he just is so supportive in that way. A lot of acts of service, I guess, and, make sure I come home to a cooked dinner and doesn't make me stress about the dishes, and does my laundry, and just really supports in like a way that you don't realize is so helpful.
Yeah, the small things.
The small things.
How have you been finding having the balance, obviously coming nearly 6 months in, learning to make time for yourself, whether it be exercising or doing the small things when you do have a moment of time, and not instead going, I'll just quickly do this email?
I'm still learning how to balance. I think it's like friends, family, relationship, work, me time. And how do you balance all 5 of those things? Yeah. And how do you fill all of your cups? And that is something that has been a massive struggle for me personally. I think just candidly, I've had a really difficult time with maintaining friendships in this period of my life. My friends are beautiful, and they're all very much there for me, and they understand that this is just a chapter in my life where I'm less present. But for me, I'm not used to that, and I'm not used to seeing my girlfriends all the time or responding to texts instantly. And so that's been just a personal struggle for me, and just naturally my Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays look a lot different to what they used to. And all of my girlfriends work 9 to 5 on weekdays. So it's really trying to balance that relationship. I think Taylor and I I'm really proud of how far we've come and the challenges that we've overcome in this. And I think that's something that I'm feeling really content with at the moment. Me time has really fallen to the back burner.
It's so easy to prioritize the business over yourself.
Exactly. And so that's definitely something I do. But I guess I also don't see Gracie's as work. I see it now, which I don't know if this is healthy or unhealthy, but I see it as kind of just a part of me and my existence now. And so naturally,
it's healthy if it's something you love doing, especially like your job is supposed to be something you love. So it's healthy in that way, but maybe the balance.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm slowly finding. I really do think the last 2 weeks I've found a way to switch off a lot more, and I've stepped back from some night times just to kind of really be present at home and like I said, cook some dinners and do that sort of thing and see some girlfriends. So that's something that I'm prioritizing. And now I know in the next few months I really need to find that time for me again. I don't exercise at the moment. I don't really do a whole lot just by myself for myself. So Taylor's actually going away for work over the next month, and that gives me a little bit of anxiety because he's he's my comfort person. But it's also going to be a really good opportunity for me to give that time back to myself.
Yeah, be with yourself.
And be with myself and maybe sign up to Pilates again, maybe go for a run or a few more walks. And yeah, that's what I'm really excited for.
Yeah. What's yours and Taylor's favorite thing to do outside of the business if you had a moment to completely switch off from it all?
Every morning we're in a good routine. Every morning we have to go for a walk together, and neither of us like to be on our phones. If he's on his phone, I'll get grumpy, and if I'm on my phone, he'll get grumpy. So it's just, we'll do maybe like a 4-kilometer walk in the morning. Yeah. We'll go get a coffee and a hot chocolate, and that will just be our time to kind of chat about whatever's going on in the world.
What do you think has been the biggest difference, obviously, since starting this business together?
The biggest difference in our relationship?
Yeah.
I would say learning to disagree. Yeah. We have such different opinions on the day-to-day operations of Gracie's. I'm obviously a girly. I want to provide for the girlies.
You're the aesthetic.
Exactly, where Taylor has a really strong business acumen and he's very much business focused and finance led, where I'm very much like for the girlies, what the girlies want to enjoy. Yeah. So the biggest thing we've had to overcome together is learning how to disagree.
But both of those things together, it's kind of perfect.
It's perfect, but they don't always marry up. Yeah, so it's like who wins these battles. I would say 9 times out of 10 it is me, but it's learning. It's really learning how to disagree in a healthy way and separating in that moment. Are we business partners in this moment, or are we
learning when to go home and stop talking about Gracie's?
Exactly. Like sometimes there has to be a line in the sand where I say, okay, are we discussing this as like you're my partner right now, or are we discussing this as business partners right now? And that is something that has been a really interesting challenge to overcome. And still sometimes we'll bicker about it. I think it's only natural. We have such differing opinions about some things. But then it's also really beautiful when we can finally come to an agreement and we like land on it and we bring it to fruition. So that's been the biggest thing for sure.
Let's get into the birth of Gracie's, how it all started. Where did the name Gracie's come from? I'm assuming it's got something to do with your middle name, Grace. But what sealed the deal for the name Gracie's Wine Room?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gracie is my middle name.
Yep.
And it was also a bit of a tribute to my nana. I was very, very close with my nana, Faye Love. Yeah. And her mum, her middle name was Grace, and it was just a name that was really, really special to my nana. So we were going to call it Lucy's at one stage because Taylor had a dog that like he loved and adored his whole life that passed away about a year or two ago. And so it was going to be called Lucy's. And then we were like just going through lots of different names, and Grace was in there. And then it just felt like as soon as we saw Gracie's, we both just said, yeah, that's the one.
From day one, did you have a clear vision of what you wanted Gracie's to look like, what the vibe and the aesthetic was going to be, or do you think it evolved as you and your friends built this place up?
I hate interior design. Like
really?
With a passion.
So you wouldn't think that when you walk into Gracie's?
It makes me sick. The most disagreements that I had with anyone was about the design of the place because I had no friggin' idea what I wanted it to look like. I just wanted it to look cute and chic and like a little bit homey. I knew I wanted lots of wood, but that was it. I had no idea what I wanted, and everyone kept begging me and bugging me like, Kelsie, what tile do you want? Kelsie, what paint do you want? I didn't friggin' know. And so anytime someone asked me that, I felt so overstimulated. Yeah. I just really didn't enjoy the process of designing, to be honest. Hated it. And I even to this day hate anytime we make a change. I
don't want a part.
No. I don't want a part of it. That was the hardest part of the entire build, as stupid as it sounds. I'm so indecisive and I really can't visualize what different textures look like together, what different colors look like together. And so when you're making such expensive decisions
insane
that you're committing to, it just was torture. I absolutely despised it.
And how did it go having your friends helping you throughout this whole journey? You obviously had your partner Taylor helping you and then all of your friends helping you. That's a lot of opinions and a lot of close opinions that you want to nurture and be grateful for. What was that experience like building this place with your friends?
It may be the best part.
Yeah. It looked like so much fun. Like I wanted to be a part of that friendship group renovating this beautiful building.
The way our friends showed up for us in those 2 months of before opening Gracie's was unbelievable. I've never experienced like just such camaraderie and just willingness to just like spend their weekends during summer with us.
Yeah.
People would come after work. People would spend a 35-degree Saturday inside painting walls. The support that we were shown from our best friends was absolutely insane. And I know I probably shouldn't say it, but to this day might be forever my favorite part of Gracie's was that 2 months. And Taylor took off work and we were just slumming it all day, every day. We were out there digging and laying bricks and painting and tiling, and it was the hardest, most grueling work, but the most fun we've ever had in our lives.
Yeah, it looked like so much fun. Like I said, like I wanted to be there, a part of it, and you documenting the whole thing. I think everyone felt like they were a part of it, watching this place grow literally from the ground up. What was the biggest curveball you faced during the build or the setup that no one really could have warned you about?
There's been so many. I think that's what I'm just having a think. One that comes to mind, and I don't really know how much detail I can go into because it's still a battle that we're facing at the moment, but is around like the governing bodies like the council and things like that around. They've just got such strict rules in place, I guess, on how businesses operate and really high standards that they kind of keep everyone accounted to. So that's something that I was really naive about, and I had no idea around planning permits and all of that sort of stuff. So that was a massive lesson. And
it's not something you'd think about.
Something I didn't think about, and very naive of me, and probably if one thing that I could teach anyone else that wants to own like a physical venue would be really look into the rules and laws around council and planning permits and patronage and everything like that, and your amenity, which means that, you know, how you're maintaining and I guess like going out on the footpath and like what you're doing there. Is it always clean? Is it always clear of glass? What's the noise levels like in your building? How are you disrupting, I guess, peace in the area is genuinely something that business owners have to be aware of. And I guess because I never thought Gracie's would be what Gracie's is now, I never really thought I had to think too hard about it. So that's definitely one of the biggest curveballs that I'm still learning about. And then just naturally, just things would go wrong all the time. We weren't ready to open the doors when we opened. So I don't know if anyone that came on the first weekend realized this, but that back room, like there wasn't much furniture in there. There were still tiles of cork that weren't like put up. It wasn't ready. And so we then spent like the next few weeks, as soon as Gracie's was closing, like still getting it ready to open properly.
Well, I guess people probably wouldn't have noticed because it was new. They don't know what it was supposed to look like. So I guess that was a benefit for it being your first time and not being ready.
That's so true. Is people probably didn't know what to expect, but we are still.
To you, it would have looked so unprepared, but I'm sure to everyone else, they would have been like, oh, this is cool. New venue.
We cringe every time we look at the photos from like opening weekend in the first few weeks because it was just so different to what we thought it would be. So we very much knew that it was a work in progress. And even to this day, we continue to make changes like every couple of weeks. We're buying new furniture, or we're, you know, adding some new artwork around the place, or, you know, maybe we have a plan to fix a bit of things upstairs or in the bathrooms. And so we're constantly trying to reinvest back into the building because the reality is that we did this on such a tight budget that not everything could be 100% perfect.
Yeah. And it'll continue to keep changing the more you keep growing as well. So
exactly.
On the flip side of what the biggest curveball was, what has been the most rewarding part of Gracie's so far?
It's seeing on a Friday night specifically. I don't know why Friday nights have this like special place in my heart at the moment, but on a Friday night when you go in there at maybe around 7 o'clock, maybe even 6:30, and you just see it is packed full of amazing women and guys, but mostly amazing women that are in there connecting with their friends, having a wine, having a laugh, letting their hair down, and it feels such a safe space.
Yeah.
And it is the best feeling in the world. It's really friggin' loud because us girls have loud voices in there, but it is just the most amazing feeling. And every time on a Friday night when I'm pouring some girls some wines and I'm in there and I just look around and I'm like, I've done it. Like, I've done it. How cool is this?
Yeah.
And that will forever be the most rewarding thing like ever. It just gives me the chills.
What is your favorite job to do at Gracie's when you're in there?
I wish I could actually just pour people wines and serve them behind the bar 24/7. I wish that's the extent of my job, and that's what I had
to talk to people and pour some wines.
You get to talk to people, you get to give them, I feel like, enhance their experience. You have the opportunity to ask and learn about people. You just have, just connecting with different people. That's what I wanted to do, and that's like what I love the most. So if I could do one job all the time, it would be standing right at that bar and pouring the wines.
If you could give your pre-Gracie self some advice, what do you think it would be?
It would be strap in and remember when you're stressed and in times of overwhelm, what a privilege it is to be in this position because it's something you've wanted your entire life. So in those moments where you feel like everything is against you or you feel like your world is crashing down and you can't breathe, just remember how privileged you are to be in a position where you're living out your dream.
Yeah, definitely. How did you go about picking the wines you were going to have in there?
I just tasted so many of them. I met with...
Was that your favorite part of the setup?
For sure. And it's kind of like really grown my wealth of knowledge in wine and winemaking as well. And I've loved every bit of meeting with suppliers. And so, I basically just met with like maybe 20 to 25 suppliers before we opened, tasted as much of their portfolio as I could. I've really wanted cool stories associated with the wine. So a lot of our wines that we drink, like I love knowing exactly where they come from and who the winemakers are. Like we've got a beautiful wine on our menu at the moment from a local Melbourne guy that works full time in finance, and like on his weekends he goes to his warehouse in Brunswick and he bottles the wine and he labels it himself, and amazing wines as well. And so I really love supporting stories like that. So a little bit more untraditional, that we don't just have like 3 suppliers that provide us with everything. In fact, we probably have about 20 suppliers that we have to contact every week for new wines. But it's the beauty of it and being able to have such unique stock in there that not everyone else has. And I really love supporting small local winemakers.
Yeah. How did you also go about picking wines that maybe weren't your favorite flavor or taste, but you knew maybe someone else would enjoy it?
That's an interesting question, because I think at first I wasn't the best at choosing wines for everyone. And in fact, I very much went off of my taste and my instinct, which is so subjective. But even now, like we have a wine on the menu, which is actually our best seller at the moment, and I don't like it. I actually really don't like it. I just don't like a minerally earthy wine. I'm very much like a more fruit forward, smoother sort of drinking red. And we have this one, and it is by far our best seller at the moment, and I don't like it. But I nearly got rid of it off the menu because I really didn't like it that much. I only gave it a few days and I was like, no, I can't drink it. I really don't enjoy it. But it continues to be our best seller and we continue to have so much feedback on it.
You wouldn't expect it.
I didn't expect it. So I'm now in a phase where like, okay, I'm happy to be proven wrong. So my bar manager, Josh, he really challenges me if I don't like something, and he does. Well, he maybe has slightly better taste than I do sometimes. So I trust his instinct.
Yeah. He's like, just give it a chance.
Yeah.
You'll see.
Exactly.
Is there something on the menu you think people overlook that you think deserves more love?
That is a great question. I would say food-wise, I would say it's our meatball sub that we just launched. I mean, people are really getting around.
Insane. We didn't have it in the sub, but just like the meatballs at the Prime event, they were so good.
Yeah, and people are really getting around it, but also naturally it might not be a food that the girlies want to like gravitate towards on a weekend, because maybe it's a little bit messy and it's a little bit like too hardy. So I do get that.
Or on a date.
Exactly. But I do think that is something that I am like obsessed with at the moment, that I haven't heard as much about. Everyone still gravitates towards the focaccia. And then from a wine perspective, something that gets missed the most, I would say, is our Beaujolais. So that's like a more medium bodied styled red on our list. And I am obsessed with it. I prefer it way more to a Pinot, and it is just so smooth and goes down so easy. And every time I recommend it to someone, they will buy bottles of it. But it's not something that people would know to get.
Yeah, not something they'd be looking for.
Exactly.
Obviously, you said currently your favorite time is a packed Friday night, but overall throughout the past 5, nearly 6 months, what do you think you've preferred, a packed Friday night or maybe like a Thursday or a Sunday with the regulars that come in that you talk to?
I would say before this random phase of me loving Friday nights, it was always a Saturday and Sunday lunchtime. It would be not too overcrowded, not too busy, probably more aligned with the Gracies that I thought we were going to create.
Yeah.
You have people coming in of all different demographics that are just really excited to be out and about on their weekend, and you really get to connect with them on a bit of a different level to what you can during like a busy service on like a Friday or a Thursday or a Saturday night. So I would say, especially when the sun's shining, like in that courtyard, nothing beats the vibe out there. So during the days on a Saturday, Sunday between 1 and 3 p.m., I would say that was always my favorite, and probably always will be like the most fun time to work, in my opinion.
Do you ever have people steal cutlery or glasses or anything that you've noticed?
I think our staff are probably the thieves of the cutlery. I think they throw them in the bin without realizing, which is hilarious.
I used to do that all the time at the cafe. It gets to a time of day where you're like, I can't be bothered anymore.
I think a lot of our cutlery ends up in the bin, unfortunately, but people do steal wine glasses. And I actually really remember something I probably really regret is someone once came up to me in like our first few weeks, and we didn't have a lot of money when we first opened, and those wine glasses are really expensive.
They're custom, aren't they?
Yes, they're screen printed. And someone came up to us in our first few weekends, and they were just looking out for us, and they were like, look, the people next to us stole some glasses, they put them in their bag. And I kind of felt like I had to, because that person had told me, I felt like I had a responsibility to go and then like politely get them back.
Yeah.
And this is just a situation that I honestly really regret in that moment.
Yeah.
And I like politely went up to them and I just said, like someone's just told me you did put some wine glasses in your bag. Like, I'm really sorry to do this, but we're a small business and we don't have a lot of them at the moment. We've just opened. Like, I would be happy to kind of give you a wine glass like when I've ordered some more, but I will just need those ones back. And I am so regretful about that.
Really?
Yeah, I just really think, do you know what? If they wanted the wine glass, what a cool keepsake and what a cool marketing experience that they could have had that in their home. And I think I felt the pressure from the other people sitting next to them telling me about it, that I felt like I had to do something about it, and which was really lovely of them.
I could not do that. I'm so not a confrontational person. I would have been shaking.
And neither am I. And I just, I feel really actually quite, when you look back on a moment and you cringe, I do feel really cringe about
One of those ones that keep you up at night.
Yeah, fully. I actually forgot about it until just now. But when I do, when I do think about it, I'm like, I just really wish that I had have just like not said anything, kept a couple of glasses. Like, who cares at the end of the day? I think we were just, even though it was lovely from those people to tell me and let me know, because they were really looking out for us and our business and knowing that we had just opened and we didn't have like a lot. So it was a really lovely sentiment. But I guess we didn't realize at the time, it's okay, Kelsie, you'll be able to afford to buy some more glasses.
Yeah, you didn't know
in a
how
month.
big it was going to get.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just something in hindsight, like I would never do it again. If I saw someone stealing a glass, I'd be like, happy days, take 2. Like, that's actually great exposure for our brand. As soon as I did it, I was like, holy crap, I will never actually ever do that again. People should take as many glasses as they want.
Not them all.
Not encouraging you guys to take all of the glasses. Please try not to. Yeah. Just awkward for all involved. I felt so bad. I probably made them feel really awkward. I felt really awkward. And I will never do it again.
Yeah. Let's jump in to your TikTok journey. Obviously, you've been documenting basically the whole journey of Gracie's. Do you think content creation came naturally because you had experience in marketing as well? Or do you think it's something that you really learnt along the way and just thought, I'm going to do this for fun?
Content creation is a whole other kettle of fish for me that I feel like I haven't really mastered, but has kind of been a bit of a happy accident on the side. I ran into a girl the other day, and she is kind of in a similar position where because of her day job, she has kind of found herself doing a bit of content creation on the side, and the way she described it was a happy accident. And I would probably resonate with that. And the way I marketed Gracie's and through TikTok at the time, it wasn't a super polished look. I didn't really have any idea.
And I think that's what people loved about it too.
Yeah, and I didn't really have any idea what I was doing, and I still don't, the way I market the business on TikTok. I have like some ideas behind the strategy and things like that, because that's my experience was strategy, but actually executing and being the content creator yourself is a whole different ballgame, and not something that I'm still super confident in. I love to show everything online to people, because when I was in that journey, I would use TikTok as a search engine and I couldn't really find a lot of the answers that I was looking for. So I love creating content to help give people the answers in case they're ever in a situation where they're a young female wanting to start a business, whether it's in hospitality or something else. And so I will always continue to do that. But it is something that's been such a happy accident, and I'm still trying to navigate that outside of work as well. And I had coffee with Zara McDonald yesterday, who I am her biggest fan. I think she is amazing. And she gave me some really good advice around, you know, making sure that the brand still survives without it being just like founder-led, and making sure the brand can stand on its own, even, you know, if my face isn't always to it. So there's still a lot that I have to figure out in that world of TikTok and the way that I've marketed Gracie's.
One of your more recent TikToks, I don't know if you posted it yesterday or a couple of days ago, with the orange face drops. I've been in that exact same position. I died. You were just like, I can't finish this video. I literally was dying laughing watching it. But you were talking about how you're having a bad week. You're in the middle of moving. How do you manage how much to share online when you're in the thick of it?
That has been something, because if it was up to me, I would actually share every single thing. I feel really comfortable with that, and I think people could take a lot of learnings. I do share, I would say 80 to 90% of what I go through, but there are some things that just unfortunately you can't share. Like say if we had an issue with a staff member, like I would love to share it to get advice, but realistically that's probably not ethically and morally a great idea to do. Or, you know, some of these issues that I mentioned with the council, I would love to talk more about that. But the reality is like, is there going to be a bit of a consequence to that?
Backlash from it.
Which I'm just not sure, to be blatantly honest. Like I'm not sure about that. So it's like I share as much as I can without there being like a consequence on the business. And you know, I usually, if it's something like a little bit different, I'll always get Taylor's opinion, being like, hey, are you comfortable with me sharing that? And he's a pretty good sounding board to be like, you should probably rethink that. That could actually have like a bit of an impact on like this person or this. And otherwise, So I guess it's
a hard balance.
It's a fine line, and maybe one that I've crossed over the other side of the boundary occasionally. But then also I do love being as candid as possible. So like
that's such a great trait to have. Like a lot of people who do it full time, myself like included, really struggle to know how to be completely open online and with your audience.
It's hard though, because you can then open up to a world of a lot of criticism. I remember when we were going through the build process and we were just marketing Gracie's before it had opened, we weren't super candid about the fact that I didn't have a lot of hospitality experience, because the backlash we were getting online when I first kind of hinted to that, it wasn't nice. So then we felt like we suddenly didn't have the experience, or we didn't have the right to be opening a business like this because everyone online told us that we didn't have the experience and that we were stupid. So it's like there are some things you naturally do, you know, want to hold in, because it can open you up to a whole other world of consequences. And just like no one wants to be receiving nasty comments. Like that's not good for anyone's mental health.
No. Do you think your openness online has changed the way people talk to you or interact with you in Gracie's, good and bad? Do you think people come in thinking that you're best friends because they watch you online, and that parasocial relationship you've got going on?
Yes, which is so weird to me because I never thought that I would be a person that people like would see on their phone and then like recognize in person, if that makes sense. Like, you know, I don't think I think that much of myself where I think that people would, you know, I don't live in anyone's head rent free, I don't think. So when people come into the bar and they're like, oh my gosh, like Kelsie, like how was moving house last week? And I'm like, oh my gosh, wait, how do you know that? They're like, oh, I saw it on TikTok. I was like, obviously I figured I'd put it out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
And that is just so fun because I genuinely feel like I've made so many friends through this experience. And even on a Friday or Saturday night, if the bar's under control and I've like made some, like I've met some cool people while I'm serving them, I'll quite often go over and like have a wine with them and I'll meet so many new girlfriends. Like last week I sat with a group of girls that had come all the way from, I think, Lilydale, and I just sat there and I had a wine with them. I didn't know them from a bar of soap, but I made friends and we all followed each other on Instagram afterwards.
Yeah.
And so it's the best part of it is when people come in and they like feel like they already know me because then I feel like I can open up to them even more and just make new friends.
What has been your most unexpected viral moment?
I would say my most unexpected moment was when I was on, when that podcast mentioned me and they talked about the journey, and I think their video got like 250,000 views. Also opened it up to a completely new audience that I hadn't really touched yet on TikToks, some not so nice as well. And that was like a moment where I was really reading the comments of that and I was being like, wow, this has had amazing reach. And this is so weird that like people that I don't even know are talking about me and the way I've marketed the business, and that's so friggin' awesome. But then it was also like, oh my gosh, but now it's attracted this whole other group of people that maybe don't like what I've done at the same time. But that was probably the first time I was in the car and I randomly had like 5 people message me at once being like, hey, did you know you were mentioned on this podcast? And I looked at it and I pulled over on the side of the road and I just started crying because I was so emotional at the fact that like, it's just me. Like, it's just, why does anyone, how do people know me and how do people know what I've done and why do people care and why do people think that's cool? And I think that was just a moment where I was like, wow, maybe I've done something kind of cool here.
No, and I think because you spend so much time behind building the business, you wouldn't realize actually how big it is because it is huge. Like I have had, I think since I went, and I don't know if it's the phones listening, but since I went to the With Prime Skin event last week, like 20 TikToks of people going to Gracie's and making videos about it because it is the TikTok wine room, you know what I mean? So I think you being behind the business, you almost wouldn't realize as much how big it is as well. So I can see how that would come as a shock to you that people are talking about it on a different podcast.
It's just so weird to me. Like it's really unfathomable. And even like Broadsheet doing that article, and I just don't think the extent of it has really sunk in yet. It sometimes does, and then, you know, you're so busy and you go on to the next thing that the sense
it's just like your little baby passion project, and it's actually something way bigger than that.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, I can't get too caught up in it, but those like fleeting moments of feeling really proud and being like, wow, that's an amazing moment. I should like mentally capture this. But then, you know, as a business owner, you get so busy and then like someone calls in sick or someone does something and you're like, oh, never mind.
Back to reality.
Back to reality. Yeah. So it's just so cool. And I hope that that's really what I want the next 6 months to be about, is like really paying attention to
taking
that
it all
and
in.
taking it all in.
Yeah. More of a fun question to that serious topic. Would you rather go a month without TikTok or a month without wine?
Ooh, that is a great question. Taylor's going to disagree with my answer. I would say a month without TikTok.
Really?
Yeah, but he's going to say, no, you spend so much time on that app. But I do think it would be a month without TikTok because I love.
It would almost be a good reset maybe.
Exactly. But then maybe not drinking wine for a while would also be a good reset. I don't know.
They're both things that could be good for you.
Yeah, then maybe I should actually just have a month without either. I don't know what that would do to me. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. But yeah, I think a month without TikTok, because at the end of the day, like it just would force you to be more present. So maybe I'd drink more wine with my friends and my partner.
Do you ever feel underestimated by people because of your age in this business?
100%. Yeah, I feel extremely underestimated, not just because of my age, also because I'm female, and then throw that in on top of the fact that I didn't have a lot of hospitality experience. that is like the perfect recipe for people to underestimate me and I guess like what I'm able to achieve. And I bloody underestimate myself, like to be completely candid with you. I never thought.
Opens you up for a lot of criticism.
100%, a lot of doubt. We had, before we did Gracie's, we had a lot of friends and family that didn't think that this would succeed. And that's just the reality of it. And that comes from a place of being scared as well and fear. But yeah, we had a lot of people that didn't think that we could do what we've done today. And we probably didn't really think that we could do what we've done today. No. So yeah.
Especially not since you were ever imagining it on this scale as well. If you were imagining it on this scale, I'm sure like your anxiety would have been peaking.
100%. But yeah, people all the time. Hospitality is a very male-dominated industry, and not just male-dominated, but like older men. So, you know, to see like a young woman perceived to be doing well and being talked about doesn't always fly with everyone.
No, definitely not. How do you manage your mental health surrounding Gracie's and running a business at this age? Obviously, you said you do struggle with anxiety. How have you learned along the way how to manage it?
I think that's still a work in progress. And I have really turned to Taylor this year, and he has really been that person that provides me comfort, where historically I probably would have been a little bit more independent with it and found other ways, like other things to use as an outlet. So I most likely would have gone for a run or gone to Pilates or caught up with a girlfriend for a wine, but maybe not being able to do that at the moment, I have really turned to him. And he's been a massive pillar of support and helping me work through a lot of those emotions as they arise. But I think something that I'm really, really looking forward to, like I mentioned, is these next 6 months of like prioritizing really nice balance in my life of finding a way to do it all and doing it all without the price to pay.
Yeah.
Again, when I got coffee with someone yesterday, they mentioned, which I hadn't really thought about it yet, but when you do something like this and you create a business and, you know, it's doing well, it's amazing. But the reality is that there is a price to pay for that entry. Yeah. And I never thought about it like this, and she explained it so well. And it's like, what is that price? And I guess to me, it's been naturally, like, you do have to pay a price to entry, and I think that's a very valid thing. But for me, I guess that price of entry has been my personal freedom in a little bit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which I'm really happy. Like, I was really happy to give up for these 6 months, and you know what? That might even be like another 6 to 12 months because I'm really in this current chapter of my life, and that's something I've accepted. But then maybe over the next 6 to 12 months, I'll focus on like, what can be a different price of entry? Maybe that's something else, and that's not my me time. So I'm fine with it for now, but I know that there will be a point in which I really need to prioritize. Need to switch it up. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When those what am I doing moments hit, how do you reset and get yourself back into a state of, okay, time to problem solve, or it's okay, like everyone knows what they're doing, like I have a team here?
A good little cry first. I think a cry is so healthy. Like an initial reaction for me is like just have a quick bawl your eyes out in the bathroom or something. And then I think, like I mentioned before, I'm not here to fail. I am not here to let myself down. I'm not here to let my partner or our shareholders down or our customers that come in. So shut up, Kelsie. Like, just get back to it and find a solution. Like, I'm not here to fail. I'm not here to mess around. Yeah. Like, just get it done, and then go home and have a shower later and have a cry later. Yeah. That's my mentality.
Quick cry, fix it, and then another cry later. You can then sit in it later.
Decompress later.
Yeah. I love that. Would you rather go back to launch night and relive it, or literally never think about it again?
Well, Taylor and I feel like we have a really like unusual experience of our launch. That is the worst anxiety the two of us have ever felt in our lives. We don't really remember much of it, to be completely honest.
Do you see him anxious very often?
Never.
Okay, never. So that probably wouldn't have.
No. And the two of us, we were just so emotional that whole time, like lots of pride, sleep deprivation. Yeah. We were up 24 to 48 hours straight before the launch, not sleeping because, again, we weren't ready to launch. So the overwhelm of realizing, oh, we've opened a bar and we don't know how to make the cocktail that's on our menu. Yeah. Like,
do you think you were kind of disassociated leading up to it?
not leading up to it, but the night
Yeah.
we opened our doors for so we had family and friends nights 2 nights before we opened. Those
Yeah.
2 nights, we do not remember a single thing. We can't tell you what family members came. We can't tell you what friends came. We actually can't recall anything. And we weren't even drinking. We just genuinely don't remember because we were in such
You were
a
just caught up with
heightened
what needs to
state.
happen. Yeah.
Exactly. We were just on autopilot almost. And so I don't think I could relive that again. I would love to relive it and be more
And
present
be
for
present
it.
in it. Yeah.
But I don't think we could do that again. The enjoyment for us came a few weeks after we opened, probably 2 weeks after we opened,
Yeah.
when we'd had time to just like self-regulate again, get some sleep and just like sit with everything.
Once the processes started getting in place.
Exactly. The first week was the most overwhelming week of our lives. And so we didn't really get to enjoy it that much. Like
Yeah.
it was amazing, but holy crap, like the hardest thing I think I'll ever do. So I don't know if I want to relive it, only if I get to kind of retell the tale.
Go
and
back
redo
and
it a
enjoy
little.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think right now, 5 months in, you're still in survival mode, or do you think you're slowly starting to be able to enjoy it?
I think I've really noticed the last 2 weeks that I've been able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed the process and I've always had a really good time and I've had so much fun every day. Is like, how is this my job?
Yeah.
But I'm no longer just acting out of pure fear. I think I am starting to be a little bit slower I'm starting to be a bit more strategic and forward thinking.
Yeah.
And really able to like set up hopefully a successful business for the long term and not just like trying to always find quick solutions for spot fires.
Yeah.
So I'm really starting to see like bigger picture stuff and really be able to focus on that and be more strategic as a business owner rather than being so involved in every minor issue that comes up. So
And I guess that is what will come with having a growing team as well and having people to deal with the little fires for you as well.
Exactly.
Do you ever see Gracie's having another location?
Yes, I do. Maybe it's not Gracie's or maybe it's not in the same capacity as Gracie's and the same structure and idea as Gracie's, but Gracie's, in my opinion, as long as like I've got the fire for it, will continue to grow and evolve and there will be other extensions of it and other iterations of it. And yeah, it might not be Gracie's, but I will, as long as I've got the fire and the willingness and haven't failed yet, I think I'll always just want more.
Yeah, that entrepreneurial side of you, I think. You have mentioned on your TikTok you went in for advice at first about your new venture that you're going into, and then you let us all know that you are going ahead with it and you thought it through. What can you tell everyone about that new venture?
What can I tell everyone about that new venture? I don't want to get people's hopes up that it's another wine bar. It is not a wine bar, but it is something that everyone will be able to enjoy, and it is a extension of Gracie's.
Yeah. And obviously it's such early days. So
It is such
you
early
probably
days.
don't even know exactly where it's going yet. So.
Exactly. I can tell you that I will be able to kind of really go into detail probably in like the next month or so.
And I think your audience can rest easy knowing that you will be sharing everything with them.
Exactly. I will be sharing absolutely everything with everyone, and I'm really excited. It's a different business, so I'm really excited to get lots of different opinions and support from the audience all over again and really take them through the journey from like start of starting a company and signing a lease all the way through to like whatever it turns into.
Yeah. If money, time, and energy weren't a problem in the books, what would be your dream business venture in any realm to open?
Oh, wow. If money, time, and energy weren't an issue. I think Taylor and I always talk about this, and I'm really happy with the business and industry that I've chosen. But I think what kind of makes the most sense in this economy seems to be a product business.
Yeah.
And that like genuinely feels like the most successful businesses at the moment might be product businesses. I don't know where I'm getting that statistics from or that fact. It's
I
just
agree.
probably like
No,
in my mind is probably what I'm thinking, and it's an opinion. But yeah, I do think some sort of product. But we tried to think about product businesses for years. Like we were super close to launching some sort of laundry business once, and then like we looked into like razors at one stage. And we've always thought about products. But the thing is that I don't think I'm creative enough to think of something that doesn't exist.
Would you ever do maybe like for Gracie's your own wine or that type of product business?
All possibilities and all things that I'm definitely thinking about at the moment. So yeah, there's a lot of things within Gracie's we could do, and that's probably where my focus will be for the next like 3 to 5 years at least.
For now, where do you see in this moment Gracie's going in 5 years? Do you hope it stays like a hidden gem, or do you hope it goes countrywide?
You don't want to over commercialize a business, and I think especially a hospitality business, like as soon as you start to see multiple locations of the same thing, I feel like it loses its special touch. And that's what Melbourne's so good at, is having hidden gems and something just for the locals. And so I'm very aware of that. Like, you don't want to copy and paste something all around the country, because that would really lose what Gracie's is all about, I think. But if money and time and energy weren't a problem, maybe lots of different iterations and variations, and not wine bars necessarily, but other opportunities that continue to allow people to connect and make memories with their friends, because I think that's just what I'm very big on, is just like providing people with a place or an opportunity to connect and make cool memories with their mates.
Yeah, I love that. We're going to end on something fun, a little rapid fire round of questions. Okay, first, what is your go-to wine right now?
Probably a chilled red.
Yep. What is your dream artist to play live at Gracie's?
Dream artist to play live at Gracie's. Oh my gosh, you're really testing me here. Some sort of jazz band, I think. I don't even know a jazz band, but I would love some sort of jazz band, like on a saxophone. Yeah. That'd be so cool.
Wine trend you secretly hate?
Wine trend?
Yeah, what's a wine trend you hate?
Ooh.
Or even like an oversaturated wine flavor.
I know I say chilled red, that chilled red is my favorite, and it is my favorite, but I think people forget that like chilled red actually has a lot of different grapes and varieties, and that like it's not just like a type of wine.
Yeah.
So I think like probably just understanding what you're drinking.
Yeah. What is your playlist vibe at Gracie's in 3 words?
Spotify, wine bar.
Literally. What is one menu item that you'll never take off?
Focaccia.
It is so good. I think I've had more focaccia in the last 3 months going to restaurants than I have ever in my life. I don't know why. It's been so random, especially at events. Friends love it.
It's so good.
What's your favorite, red, white, or orange?
Depends on the day. Right now, red, but maybe when it's a bit warmer, an orange.
Yeah. See, I only just learned about orange wine at the Prime event the other day. They were talking about it. I was like, I've never heard of this before. What is the most romantic moment you've seen at Gracie's?
Other than all of my own romantic moments with Taylor, I have just so many first dates that are so beautiful. Like, I love being a part of people's first dates. Yeah. It's so fun.
That was my next question, and probably the question I was most looking forward to. How many first dates have you seen? Can you tell when it's a first date? And can you tell when there isn't going to be a second?
I've yes to all of them. Like, I have seen so many first dates I couldn't even tell you on one hand, mostly midweek. And I have been, like, you can always tell because the guy generally comes in first and he's looking a bit nervous, and they'll sit at the bar, or they'll sit at like one of the communal tables. And like they look a little bit nervous. And you can tell because when they come up, they're not really sure what to order for the other person either, which is like a bit of a telltale sign. Yeah. And I have unfortunately been witness to, if a girl hasn't enjoyed a first date, she'll come and tell me.
What do they say?
Oh, I don't know. She's just saying like, because I'll ask if he goes to the bathroom, I'll be like, are you on a first date? And she's like, yes. Like, I really just want to go home. Like, I don't want to be here.
That is the worst feeling.
Girl, let me know and I can get you out of this. Like, just give me a little wink and I'll find an excuse. I'll get you behind the bar working or something.
And that's the worst feeling because you really don't know what to do in that situation.
Yeah. No, I'm like, just give me a thumbs up or something and I'll get you out of there quick.
If Gracie's had a signature scent, what do you think it would be? the vibe.
Oh, focaccia, like the scent of
Freshly baked.
freshly baked bread.
Yeah. Would you rather a secret cocktail list or dessert wine pairings for Gracie's?
Ooh, dessert wine pairings, because making cocktails off the list is hard to make sure all the staff are consistent with it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for letting us into your world even more. You share so much online. I genuinely love watching the journey so much. I need to come back and sit down with you and actually try a wine and some more focaccia and maybe some meatballs too.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun.